And they're live, Monica,
Hi.
on YouTube with the padded room inmates and the Psycho Bunny Death. What's up with your hair? You didn't look like that a minute ago.
I know, I put it up.
Oh, only half of it though?
Yeah.
Okay. She only put half of her hair up. Apparently she's afraid that being on this side of me, that half of the head is going to catch on fire or something.
I usually wear my hair like this. By the time I get off work, it's always like this.
Just on one side though.
Uh-huh.
That's curious. Why
Yeah.
is it always the same side or do you
It's
alternate?
always the same
Is
size.
there a reason for that?
Because it's got that little 50s look to it.
I don't think so. I don't think it looks.
It's just missing a rose.
Hey, Raven. Does her hair look 50s to you right now? I don't. It's only she's got it pinned back, but only on one side. It's very confusing.
Yeah, I just don't have the clips, that the rockabilly chicks wear with the big rose on it.
Yeah, you want one? My wife has many of them.
Oh, really?
Sure.
I would love one.
Okay, we'll hook you up before
Yeah.
you leave here. We're about to get into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, kiddos. Hey, Natalie, how are you? Baby doll, it's Odd Mothers in the house. We're doing
Hey.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. This one actually has nothing to do with anything. So if you're looking for some hot Sawyer family action, not really, not tonight. Connor's in the house. What's going on, Connor? Have you seen Leatherface? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not the new one, the old one. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, the one with Viggo Mortensen. What do you don't like Viggo Mortensen? He's a handsome devil, isn't he? Hey, Ryan's in the house. What's up, Ryan?
Hi, Ryan.
Haven't heard from him in a while.
Oh.
From Minnesota or Montana? Minnesota, right, Ryan? All right, let's go ahead and get ourselves. Should we go ahead and do a podcast here, I guess? Do it? Should we do it? Get into this farce of a movie? It's not bad. I don't think this was meant to be.
Oh, isn't Ryan from Montana?
Montana. Yes, Ryan. Alrighty. As far as continuity goes in these movies, you could go 1, 2, and then skip right to Texas Chainsaw 3D, but that doesn't make any sense either because the timeline is all out of whack. Really, there is. I mean, 1 and 2, really. If you're looking for continuity, after that, just stop. After that, you're done.
Yeah, because who was this family?
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah,
I guess
Montana.
I knew that. Montana.
Oh, Ryan, I'm going to be going to Montana.
What are you doing in
in
Montana?
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, ice fishing.
I'm going.
Oh, you're gonna do some hunting. You should see Irma Gersh. Irma Gersh lives in Billings.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I'll stop over
Go
there and
say
say
hi
hi.
to Irma Gersh. Haven't heard from him
yeah.
in months. Days even. I don't know. Is this microphone on? All right, let's make sure our microphones are on right now. Monica has a problem with turning her microphone on. People think I'm having some kind of a paranormal experience. There's just EVPs and whispers in the background. Who's he talking to? Ooh, I don't know. Thought I heard something. Shh. All right, here we go, you maniacs. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. That's right, inmates. We are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. This one is loosely titled Leatherface. Now, it's a funny thing about this movie. A couple funny things about this movie.
Yeah, a lot.
Quite a bit, actually. I'll be honest with you, I don't think this was meant to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I think it was meant to be some kind of a road trip movie that slowly evolved, and somehow somebody got the rights to Leatherface, and then they just put him in.
Yeah, because we need to discuss the characters in this movie.
We got a wacky fucking family here in lieu of our beloved Sawyer clan. I don't know who these people are or what they have to do with anything. Apparently, they're reproducing though. There are children involved in this one.
And just to ask you, on the cast, it said William Butler.
Yeah.
And they got a picture of Gerald Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Is that
there is no
him?
No.
Okay.
No, Gerard Butler is not in this
He
movie.
played in this movie.
No, Gerard Butler is not in this movie. Viggo Mortensen, however, is. So
yeah, I'll show you the picture.
I want to see this mysterious Butler individual. All right, let's talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This one is directed by Jeff Bird, stars Kate
Hi,
Hodge,
Steven.
Viggo Mortensen, and the Ken Foray.
Mhm.
Was it just me, or was Ken Foray like 3 shades blacker in this movie than he normally is? And I'm sorry if that's coming across racist, but seriously, he looks much darker in this movie than you would see him in like
Dawn of the
a
Dead.
Dawn of the Dead or From Beyond. He seemed much lighter skin in those movies. He's like, I don't know.
It could be the shade of the
It
camera,
could be,
too.
and most of this movie
Yeah.
takes place at night, but there are some daytime scenes, and he looks, you know,
But they
don't-
did film this like outside in the sun,
True.
so he could have gotten a little bit of a
stopping
tan.
in for a second. What's up, Stevie? Stevie's just stopping in to say hi. Not just hanging, Stevie. We're talking about Leatherface Chainsaw Massacre 3. So this one actually starts off with a very jump cutty, impromptu death sequence of a young lady getting hit in the head with a hammer several times. Very cool though. She has like a little rose thing on her face. I don't know if that was a tattoo or something. What it's supposed to
I
be.
don't know.
It's an identifying mark, is what it is that is gonna come into play here in a minute or two. So from there, we're gonna cut to a road trip taking place with 2 siblings involved. We have Michelle and her brother Justin, I think was his name. We might as well just call him Zach because he looked just like Zach from Saved by the Bell, and I think he was doing his.
Oh, how dare
Oh
you!
yes, he did too.
my
Oh
God.
yes, he did.
Did not
You
look like,
don't. Yes, he did. He looked.
whatever.
You slap a pair of bifocals on Zach, you have this guy Justin.
I was a nerd.
That's the whole point. So was Zach.
Zach Morrison was hot.
No, not if you put glasses on him.
He'd still be hot.
Oh, get out of here. Anyway, so the whole premise behind this road trip is that they're delivering their father's car from Los Angeles to Florida. And of course, they have to drive through our titular Texas. And that's exactly where our story picks up. So they're driving. It's nighttime and they come to some kind of a crime scene in the road where police are stopping people and they've got a bunch of road flares. And we have a hazmat team out there poking around because they've just discovered a body pit, which is very cool. Lots of dead bodies and some kind of a mass grave and sludge everywhere and all kinds of nasty stuff. The influence on Netflix is just weird. I don't know what you're talking about, Connor, but I appreciate that. Harry's in the house. What's up, Harry?
I've not heard of that.
What?
The
The influence. Should we check that out, Connor? I haven't heard of it either, but if it sounds good, we'll give it but maybe that can be our immersion therapy.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna look that up, and we'll make.
It's a horror
If it's a horror movie, then we'll make it our immersion therapy segment for the week. Anyway, so they stop these 2, and they're like, "Where are you guys going? What you doing? Where are you driving to? All right, get on out of here." And they're like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" Like, "Never you mind. You just keep it moving, and you don't stop for nobody." Okay, that's fine. I get that. Small town cops. So they keep driving. Sun comes up. They have to stop for gas. And this is where we're going to get our first peek into what I'm going to call the pseudo Sawyer family, because we can't really call these guys Sawyers because they're never mentioned as part of the Sawyer clan. The only mention of the Sawyer family in this entire movie is during the opening disclaimer. Now, hey, Troy, hang out with me on this because this doesn't make a lot of sense. So at the very beginning of the movie, we get the standard Texas Chainsaw Massacre disclaimer about the true events and this and that, and, kids got away. And what they're going to explain to us during this little disclaimer is that after the events of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, one of the Sawyer clan was apprehended. And they only identify this dude as W.G. Sawyer. Who the fuck is W.G. Sawyer? No idea. Now, a couple of conclusions that we could jump to. And we're reaching here if we really want to get to the bottom of W.G. Sawyer. Now, he's clearly not Drayton Sawyer, right? Because Drayton blew himself up with a hand grenade at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. He can't be Nubbins because Nubbins died in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. He can't be Leatherface, right? Because another part of the disclaimer is that, okay, this is very silly. The conclusion that the court came to after the events of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was that Leatherface was a alternate personality of this W.G. Sawyer. Thus, Leatherface never existed, and once they apprehended W.G. Sawyer, the killings were stopped, and they pretty much closed the case on the whole Sawyers altogether. So who the fuck is W.G. Sawyer, you ask? The only conclusion that I can come to, and this is completely illogical, and I'm really reaching here, is that somehow Chop Top survived getting stabbed in the chest with a chainsaw and falling off that weirdo volcano apparatus at the end of part 2, and his real name is William Jeffrey Sawyer or W.G. Sawyer. What I don't know, but that's, and he's the one that was apprehended, and they decided to just pin the Leatherface killings on him also. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's a stretch, right? But that's really the best I can do for you. So I don't know. All right, so now we're gonna meet the first of our pseudo Sawyers here at the gas station. A guy by the name of Alfredo. Alfredo. What about the Sawyers sounds Italian? That we would get a guy named Alfredo all of a sudden. Let's look at our lineage of Sawyers. We have Drayton, we have Jedediah, Verna, Bubba, Nubbins. At no point, there's no other Lucianos in there, or Augustos, or there's no. The Sawyers are not Italian, so how we arrived at Alfredo, I have no idea. But now all of a sudden we have an Alfredo in the mix.
Maybe they kidnapped him as a child.
And they would probably change his name to.
Maybe he changed it himself. He was like, "This is who I'm going to be."
Oh, kind of like Bobby Boucher's dad.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to call myself Alfredo.
Call me Roboito, because that sounds more exotic. Bobby Boucher, it's your daddy, Roboito. All right, whatever. I mean, it's weird having a Sawyer named Alfredo all of a sudden. Hey, who am I to judge? So, and again, we're reaching here to call this guy a Sawyer because there is no other mention of the Sawyers at any point in this movie.
He had one bad eye.
What does that mean? He could have got, I don't know. Does that make him a Sawyer? He's got a bad eye. That means he's clearly a backwoods cannibal. He's partially blind in one eye. This motherfucker, look at him. Alfredo. That's not even your real name, you son of a bitch. So we meet Alfredo. He's skittish. And as they roll up to the gas station, he's sitting outside on the porch with literally a fistful of pornography. And by fistful, I mean a fistful of pages that he's ripped out of Penthouse, and he's making like paper dolls out of the boobs or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's like, and he's talking to himself, and he's like, I don't know what the plan is with a fistful of porno. And then when they roll up, he like quickly crinkles it all up and throws it. So, okay, clearly you're ashamed of yourself for having a fistful of pornography. See, if this guy were around today with internet browsers and high-speed internet access, he would probably be a much more well-adjusted young man, because he could just beat off whenever he felt like it and not have to walk around with a fistful of porno boobies in his coverall pocket. Whatever you got to do, man. I don't know. All right, anyway, so they roll up. Alfredo's all pervy. As they're rolling up, another car pulls up and lets a hitchhiker guy out to go use the gas station there. Peep at you when you potty. You're exactly right, Troy. Harry, what do you think the plan is? What do you think whose plan is, Harry? I don't know what's your plan? You're kind of freaking me out a little bit. Hey, the parole officer's in the house. He's going to breathalyze you. You're in big trouble. Anyway, so here comes a random hitchhiker that just gets dropped off at the gas station. We're going to recognize this dude right off the bat. It's Viggo Mortensen. He's probably, 25 years old in this movie, give or take? No, he's younger than that. He's looking good, man. When he gets out of this car, he looks like he walked right off the cover of a romance novel. He's got the cowboy hat. He's got the denim shirt unbuttoned to the navel, showing a little chest hair. He's got the ascot, which says rugged, right? Little bit of a five. Why am I selling this guy? You're the one that's all.
I don't like him.
Why don't you like Viggo Mortensen?
He's a good actor. I like his movies. I don't find him attractive.
You would have sex with Viggo Mortensen.
No.
If he bought you a drink. If a Viggo Mortensen. Okay. No, I got it. Eastern Promises, Viggo Mortensen. Russian thug Viggo Mortensen.
No, nothing.
Oh, you're lying. She's lying. She's lying right now, I can tell you. Anyway, he rolls up. He's like, hey, my name's Tex. He's laying on the Texas accent pretty heavy there. So 21-inch guns. I am swole. All right, parole officer.
I'm just getting back from the gym.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Does he measure his arms every time he comes back from the gym?
Oh.
Well, look out there. All right. Well, thank you for the update, parole officer. Anyway, it's weird. That's a weird thing. I don't. All right. Whatever, man. So he rolls up and he's like, "Hey, where are you guys going? You going across the state?" And he's talking to Michelle, and Michelle's like, you could tell Michelle's horny for Tex right off the bat. She's like, yeah, we're going across country, and my brother's in the bathroom. Brother goes into the bathroom. It's disgusting, of course. Basically, Tex hits them up for a ride out of there. So that's cool. But Michelle's all ready to give him a ride. She's like, oh, yeah, where are you going? I don't know. I'll have to talk to my brother. She's horny for him. She wants that dick. It's fine. I get it. He's Viggo Mortensen, for Christ's sakes. Brother gets out of the bathroom, and he starts talking to Tex while Michelle goes into the bathroom. Michelle's in there, and immediately she's inundated with weird collage porno wall art, as you would find in a backwoods gas station. And, of course, it's a peephole, but I feel like it could be easily converted to a glory hole. Should the young lady prove willing? I don't know. I don't know which way Alfredo's going with this. So natural. You don't know what a glory hole is? I could show you. I've got some drywall right over there.
I know.
I got a drill bit. We can knock this out.
Your kids have quite an amazing glory hole.
I'm telling you. Anyway, so naturally, Alfredo creeps around and starts peeping on Michelle while she's going to the bathroom, and he's getting all hot and bothered. Outside, Tex is talking to Justin, and he's like, hey, there's a side road over here. It's a shortcut. You give me a ride. I'll show you exactly where it is. Justin's like, no, man, I got a map right here. It says just to stay on this road and we'll be fine. He's like, oh, look at that map there. It was made in 1973. You see, there's your problem. This is a new road over here. It'll save you about 4 or 5 hours. Look, just give me a ride and I'll show you exactly where. And they're like, I don't think I'm going to be picking up hitchhikers, dude. So Michelle, who's inside, Tex goes in to use the phone or something and catches Alfredo peeping on Michelle. So he gives Alfredo a quick 1-2 punch, and then they go outside and have themselves a little tussle. Justin and Michelle are like watching this whole thing going, whoa, what the hell? Alfredo goes inside and pulls out a shotgun, and he starts like threatening Justin and Michelle. Justin and Michelle get in the car and haul ass out of there, leaving Tex behind like a couple of fucking assholes. And as they're pulling off, they think they see Tex get shot by Alfredo with the shotgun. So now they're all fighting. Whoa, what the fuck? What are we going to do? Oh, no. And they're panicking and flying down this stretch of dirt road. So that's pretty gnarly. Now the sun sets. And apparently, we don't know exactly what happened at the gas station, but the sun has now set. So at least a good 25 minutes has gone. At least 25 minutes has gone by. Back at the gas station, Alfredo rolls up the garage door, and a monster truck comes out covered in animal skins. And we know that Alfredo's not driving it, but somebody else is, and it goes tearing down the road after the kids. A couple 10, 12 miles down the road, Justin and Michelle got themselves a flat tire. Well, fuck, man.
Does he even know how to fix
I don't think he knows how to change a tire. He's too busy hanging with AC Slater and the chick from Showgirls. That's what he's doing, man. He didn't know anything about tires. So they get out and they're going to change a tire, and they're still pretty rattled, and they're pretty sure they saw Tex get shot with a shotgun. So they're like, we got to get to the next town. We're going to call for help. We got to get this tire changed. He's out there trying to change a tire in the dark, not doing a very good job. Up rolls this monster truck with the animal skins and hits him with the high beams. Whoa, fuck, we got to get out of here right now. They jump in the car. We have like a medium speed chase where the truck is like following them down the road. Eventually the truck passes them, and when it does, it throws a dead coyote on their windshield. and it causes them to like spin out a little bit. So they get out, they're like, oh God, it's a dead coyote. Get back on the road. This is where things get pretty weird, because now we're going to cut to another poor guy who's just minding his own business out in Texas, Ken Foray, playing a guy named Benny who's just driving. He's just out in his Jeep just for driving somewhere. I don't know where he's going. They get the tire changed, but they're pretty rattled after the coyote incident. So they don't quite like put all the lug nuts on like as tight as they could, which is bad business. So they're going down the road, and here comes Benny coming towards them, and they're coming towards each other. And just as they would be passing each other, Tex, Viggo Mortensen, like jumps out in the road and does like a, ooh. And he's got like some blood on him, but he, whoa. And then they both go careening in opposite sides off the road to avoid hitting Tex, and they both get into car accidents. Well, shit. That's a fucking shitty thing to do. And what the hell is Tex's problem?
Run over the guy.
Don't run over Tex. He might have got shot with a shotgun. You know? He's having a bad time as it is.
Like that. I've seen The Hills Have Eyes.
I've seen it too.
We're gonna run over that person.
I'm not going on a road like that because I've seen The Hills Have Eyes. That's horror 101, people. Say, hey, there's a shortcut over there. No, I'll just stick to the freeway. Oh, it's road save you a day and a half. Nah, freeway for me, buddy. I've seen how this works. Yakety yak, don't talk back. She's tired of writing her brother. I get that, Ryan. I understand where you're coming from.
She's writing her brother.
Yes,
wow,
I get it. I mean, if that's where we're going to take this, then that's where we're going. Ryan, you said it, not me. Anyway. So now we got this double car accident. Benny's the first one up. He goes down and checks on the kids. Benny's up. Michelle's unconscious. So we find out that, not Benny, Justin is up and Michelle's unconscious. So Benny's like, hey, man, I used to be a medic. I got some supplies back at the Jeep. Let me just go get them and then we'll do that. And Justin's like, oh, this guy Tex, he's out there on the road. We almost hit him. That's the guy that came out in the road. He's like, all right, let me get you patched up and then we're going to go find your friend. I just got to get back to my Jeep. So Benny goes back to his Jeep, which is completely overturned. And when he gets there, he finds the monster truck with the animal skins on it. Now, mind you, Benny has no knowledge of the goings-ons at the gas station or Alfredo or the Sawyers or any of that at this point. So he's like, the monster truck is there, and the guy's got flares all over. He's like, he's there to help. So Benny goes up to the driver, and this is where we meet pseudo Sawyer number 2, a guy by the name of Tinkerer. Tinker's got an arm off, and he's got like one of those pincher claw things, which is kind of cool. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to help you roll your Jeep over. And Benny's like, yeah, okay, great. And then he starts getting ready to do it. But then he kind of gets real snippy with Benny all of a sudden. So Benny's like, you know what? I'm going to go get something out of my Jeep real quick, and then we'll figure this out. So he runs back to the Jeep. In the Jeep, he's got an AR-15, but it's like broken down and the magazine's out. And he keeps all of his bullets in a coffee can. That's that.
I cut my parts out years ago.
You got your parts cut out, Troy? I don't know. Why is travel stay in the main road? Exactly right, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what parts you got cut out, but I hope you're healing. I hope you're healing nicely. I don't know if that was a surgical thing or you just decided you didn't need those anymore. I don't know, man. Anyway, so Benny gets his AR-15 put together, loaded and locked. At that time, Tinker decides he's done waiting on Benny, so he just throws on the high beams, punches the gas, and basically runs Benny off the road again. And Benny goes tumbling down the hill and kind of knocks himself unconscious. All right, that sucks. Now we're going to cut back to okay. I don't know, Troy. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, now we're going to cut back to Justin and Michelle. Michelle's come to, so that's good. About this time, though, our old pal Leatherface shows up. Now, let's talk about the Leatherface that we see in this movie. Doesn't look anything like Jeb Sawyer, no. Bubba, at all. He's got like long hair.
And he's like, what, 350?
I mean, Bubba was a heavy dude, but I don't think this
guy was big.
This is like a taller Leatherface.
Yeah.
and he's got some weird ideas about clowns and what they're for. That's a whole other thing. We're going to get into that in a second, though. But yeah, he just didn't feel like Leatherface to me. He felt like a killer with a mask on. I guess, he's very. I don't know. This whole movie feels very out of place. What are y'all's Halloween plans? We're all going to a party, Jim, at our friend's house. You're welcome to join us if you're in town.
Yes,
I don't know.
Mankind and WWE, exactly.
That yes, I agree completely. Except taller and I don't know, less facial hair, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so Leatherface, this version of Leatherface, starts chasing Justin and Michelle around. Okay, that sucks. Now we're going to cut back to what I'm going to call a body swamp type of a operation. It's a random swamp in the middle of what's supposed to be the Texas desert. Now, let's just pretend that makes sense for a second and forget the whole part about the desert and the fucking Texas and swamps being kind of, more southern based, coastal, whatever. Who cares? There's a swamp in the middle of Texas, and Alfredo is there, the guy from the gas station, and he's there dumping body parts into the body swamp. Scarlett's in the house. What's up, Scarlett? So that's kind of wacky. So now we know for sure that Alfredo is part of the pseudo Sawyers that we're getting in this movie. We can also include the Tinker guy in this and a couple others. So while Leatherface is out chasing Michelle and Justin around, Benny comes to and he's like, God damn, what the hell? He stumbles upon Alfredo dumping body parts in the swamp. And he's like, what the hell? And of course, Alfredo, being the dipshit that he is like singing country songs and talking to himself and talking about roadkill and motherfucker. I don't know, man. These guys, they don't feel like Sawyers to me. They feel like a tribe of asshats that are just.
Maybe these are cousins.
They're too, no.
Like 50 miles away.
They are too good looking to be Sawyers, my friend. I want to see I want to see some disgusting teeth. All these people had pearly whites.
With the mom?
Well, other than the tracheotomy, yeah, she was fine, and she was in a wheelchair. I thought for a second she was supposed to be Verna Sawyer.
That's what I was thinking.
But again, no mention of the Sawyers. So that timeline would kind of make sense, given the age and things like that. I don't know, whatever. I can't stay super long, but I'm going to share you out to my groups. Well, thank you very much, Scarlett. Anyway, so they're running. Eventually, Leatherface manages to do like a loop-de-loop and catch Justin. He smacks him in the head with a shovel and knocks him out. Michelle keeps running, and she comes across a house in the middle of the Texas desert. Now, I've seen enough horror movies to know that this is probably not the house that I want to go to.
Why not?
Because these motherfuckers have to live somewhere, right? They don't have like an underground lair, I don't think. So there's a good chance that this is the house that these ass parts came from. Of course it is. She goes in there, knocks on the door. A little girl lets her in. Cute little girl. Kind of looks like Carol Ann from The Shining, except wearing like a 1940s style dress. Lets her in. Oh my God, are you okay? They go upstairs. And okay, all right, here we go. Now, let's assume that these guys are Sawyers. They can't be because this house is too fucking clean, right? It is actually a fairly clean house.
Yeah.
We've seen how Sawyers live. There's a lot of like weird artsy-fartsy bone constructs and mobiles and wind chimes, and for some reason there's always feathers all over the place. This house, pretty clean by Sawyer's. I mean, it's immaculate by Sawyer standards. These are not. I'm going to go out on a limb and say these are not Sawyers.
Is this the same house that was in the one with Matthew and Renee?
I don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet. Okay. I don't think so, though. Could that work? Like it could be. It could be. Okay. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But regardless, house is clean. She walks in. She's like, "Oh, nice place." Goes upstairs, starts playing with the little girl. The little girl pulls out like a doll with a skull head. Yeah, exactly. Did I say it's shiny?
Yeah, I didn't want to correct you.
I think I'm having a stroke. I get talking and I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. You're right, Troy. I meant the poltergeist. Clearly, there is no Carol Ann in The Shining. Anyway, So she goes upstairs, starts playing with little girl. Little girl like pulls out a little doll with a skull head and then stabs Michelle in the leg. And Michelle goes, ah, fuck. And then Tinker comes running up and grabs Michelle, takes her downstairs, and like secures her to a chair, like ties her to this chair. While that's going on, we're going to cut back to Benny, who's out in the weirdo Texas swamp area, kind of skulking about, following Alfredo while he's doing his body dumping thing. Eventually pulls the gun on Alfredo, and he's like, look, you motherfucker, where is everybody? How many of you are there? And Alfredo's like, fuck you. So Benny knocks him out, and he falls in the swamp. Yuck, but whatever. After that, Benny's back on his own. Now we're going to cut back to the house where Michelle has been secured to the chair. They bring in the unconscious body of Justin and string him up. We have a grandpa-esque figure. I'm not going to say he's the Sawyer grandpa, but there's a dead body in a suit sitting in a chair, and they're all referring to him as grandpa. Now, normally this is where they would put the hammer in his hand and make him kill Justin. Instead, they're like, that's a dead guy, right? They don't even bother with this dude. They're like, he's really there just for show. I don't know why we even keep him around. He kind of stinks. But they're like, okay, let's go ahead and kill Justin here. And Michelle's freaking out. They get into a dipshit argument. First, it's about, Tex rolls in. He helps him carry. And this is where we get the big reveal that Tex is part of this half-ass Sawyer family. And okay, so these guys are way too good looking to be Sawyers. All of them, really. Even Mama. When we're going to meet Mama, or somebody that they refer to as Mama. She comes in a wheelchair. She's got one of these voice tracheotomy things.
Hey, how's it going? I'm really sorry about all this. We didn't mean to kill you, but we're going to eat you anyway.
I always wanted a friend that had one of those so that I could just snatch the fucking thing away if he got on my nerves. That's the point. That is the point. That's exactly. You want to talk shit about my Vikings? Give me that fucking thing. Yeah. You can have this back later on. Piece of shit. Anyway, we meet Mama, we meet Tex, Tinker, and Leatherface, who they keep referring to as Junior. Now, at no other point in the Sawyer Clan franchise has Leatherface been referred to as Junior. It's Jeb, Jed, Leatherface, or Bubba. Junior would indicate that he was named after his father. We have never met his father, or there has never even been a mention of Leatherface's father. So I don't know, man, but we're just going to roll with this. Leatherface Jr. comes rolling in, and he's got a Walkman on, and he's like rocking out a little bit, and he puts the Walkman on Michelle, and she's like, ah! And then Tinker's like, you goddamn, what's your technology? And he takes the Walkman away and throws it in the oven. So apparently he forgot that Leatherface is like 3 times his size and can easily whip his ass. So Leatherface is like, you think that's funny, motherfucker? He puts him in like a bear hug and then forces him to reach into the oven and get the Walkman out. Not using his robotic pincher claw, using his real hand, which sucks. You're already short a hand. You're going to lose another one. You keep pissing the big guy off. Mama comes down and she's like, oh, Leatherface, oh, sorry about that. Oh, he's a good boy. And then she tells Leatherface to go down and do his lessons. He's got like one of those speak and spell things down in the basement. And it keeps asking him, it shows him a picture of a clown, and he keeps putting in FOOD. And it's like, wrong, try again, wrong, try again. And he's going, getting all fired off. It's a little Leatherface humor there for you. Last Rocket on Walkman. Oh, I didn't even know that. Last Rocket. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Is that what it's called? Laz Rocket. How can you be a junior when your dad is your uncle? That's a very good question. That is a very good question, Ryan. I don't know if that even counts as a junior. It should be like I'm my own cousin in a weird way. I don't know, man. I don't know how any of that works. Regardless, that's all well and good. Now we're going to cut back to Benny, who has stumbled upon this house and is skulking around the outside trying to figure out how many of these fuckers there are, what's going on in there, and all this shit. Unfortunately, back inside, Justin has come too. They haven't officially killed him yet. They've just strung him up, And apparently, he was still alive this whole time because he's like, oh, he's upside down. And that's when they're like, oh, fuck it, he's still alive. So they take a hammer and smack him in the head, and now he's dead. And Michelle got to watch that whole thing. She's like, whoa, whoa! She's got the gag in.
Daddy brother.
Yeah, same thing, Troy. whatever you want to call it. So that sucks. She just watched her brother get killed, and now they immediately got set into like peeling flanks off him and cutting steaks and things like that, which is even grosser. That's pretty gnarly. Everything's like going crazy. About this time, Benny, I should say, is outside. He sees some of this action, and he's like, "Oh hell no!" So he just opens fire through a kitchen window, basically just shooting haphazardly at anything in this kitchen.
Blew
Grandpa's face off. I don't think he hit anybody else, did he? He might have glazed. I think Tinker got hit like in the shoulder. Other than that, he didn't really do any damage to anybody. Did he kill Mama? He might have. He might have killed Mama. It doesn't matter because she's a worthless character in this little equation anyway. Regardless, so now they know that Benny's out there, and they're like, "Let's get him!" So Tex, Tinker, and the little girl stays behind. But in all this confusion, Michelle gets loose. She gets out and she starts like running around. Not Vigo. Tex manages to catch Benny outside. So like right outside in the driveway. Now, right where the big monster truck with the animal skins is parked. They get into a tussle. They're rolling around, punching each other. At one point, Tex pulls out like a big Bowie knife and starts like trying to stab at Benny, but he keeps missing and hitting a auxiliary gas tank on the truck, punching holes in it, and gas starts pouring out. Benny then grabs Tex, holds him under the gas spray, throws it, and then takes a lighter and lights him on fire, and that's the end of Tex. So we bid you a fond adieu, Mr. Viggo Mortensen. Your name will be forever etched in the annals of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He probably wants to forget it.
He probably does, along with Dennis Hopper. They both wish they hadn't done these movies. Too bad, fuckers. Your name's in it already. You can't take it out once it's in there. So no more Tex. Now we cut to Tinker, who's out running around. He actually jumps in the truck and takes off after Benny. Michelle has gotten out. And she's running around also. Tinker is flying down the road trying to. We get one of those ridiculous scenes where, okay, Benny's trying to run away from the truck, but he's doing it in a straight line, and the truck is chasing like right behind him. So eventually, Benny figures it out, and he hangs a sharp left, which causes the truck to roll, and then he gets out, and we get another tussle between Tinker and Benny. This one takes place actually like kind of close, like out in the woods. So they're like hitting each other with trees and sticks. Michelle, however, creeps up behind Tinker and kills him while Benny is still like trying to get him off him. So there's no more Tinker in the equation. Good. I don't understand what that guy's job was or what he, Well, I mean, I get it. He was part of like the Sawyer hunter-killer team, but what's going on with these? What these guys are way too good looking to be Sawyers, right?
I'm starting to think that maybe they wanted to branch off with the new family, like just forget about the first and second one. This was a whole new Texas Chainsaw.
So, you think we're just scrapping? We're just restarting the whole shit?
I think that's what they were hoping for.
Oh, God. Well, if that was the case, they should have left this mysterious W.G. Sawyer out of the opening thing. If you don't want to use the Sawyers, it's fine. I get that. You call them the Parkers or something. I don't know, man. Like in the remake. The remakes were pretty good. Just said no more Sawyers. Yes. Different writer, too. So that's pretty gnarly. No more Tinker. Now they're like, oh, okay, and then here comes Alfredo, pseudo Sawyer #1, and he's like, you motherfuckers. He's got his own truck and he's driving around. Catches Benny. Now they're back at the body swamp. Big fight between Michelle and Alfredo. Benny pulls Alfredo off Michelle. scuffle between eventually knocks Alfredo out. Here comes Leatherface. Now he's got himself like this super pimped out. It's like chrome plated with like gold emblazings on it. It's like a really tricked out saw, and it's engraved on the blade. The saw is family, which is actually pretty cool. I'll give you that. That's probably the best part of this whole movie is the super saw. So now the tussle continues between Benny and Leatherface. They manage to knock each other into the body pit swamp situation. But this part is particularly silly because as they're fighting in the swamp, the chainsaw is still revving. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know how to operate a chainsaw. That's not how it works. Number one, that's not how it works. Number two, and I can attest to this, they do not float. They are made out of metal. This one especially, with all that chrome, they do not float. But for the purposes of this story, both of those little tidbits do not exist because this one is still revving the chain at full speed while floating and like going up and down in the swamp.
Right?
How does that fucking make sense? Now, I could see it if we were setting this up for some kind of a deal where one of them got impaled on the saw blade, but that doesn't happen. They get very close to it, and it gets very intense because they're like punching at each other, and Benny holds Leatherface's head close to the saw blade, but then he reverses it and like does a twirly move on him. Needless to say,
Depending on how long your blade is and how tall the water is, I could see the bottom half sitting at the bottom.
okay,
But wouldn't it die in the water?
it probably would.
Thank you.
And that wouldn't make sense anyway because Benny and Leatherface were at least chest high when they were slugging it out. And this thing is still like bobbing with the blade revving as they're fighting it out. Now, if any of you guys have ever worked a chainsaw, you know that there's a choke on it, right? So you can start the engine and the blade won't start spinning until you engage the choke. It's almost like a trigger mechanism. I don't know, man. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just saying. Maybe this was obviously this was a custom saw. Maybe they removed the choke altogether.
Okay.
Whatever. Far be it for me to shit on your fucking chainsaw. It looked cool. That's a very good question.
Did Vigo take it into town and say, make this out of gold, please?
Hey, listen, I need to. No, it doesn't. No, we're not killing anybody with it, but I just want to, I want to chrome plate it, and I want a nice saying on the blade there. That's all I'm saying. Now, I know it's a little scary looking, but it's just for chopping down trees. That's all that is. All right, whatever. I mean, it's the same. It's like the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers with his personalized license plate. Can you see him standing in line at the DMV filling out one of those forms? No, you can't. So let's just forget it and just let it wash over us, okay?
Well, he stole that truck.
He did? I get whatever. Somebody already had.
Yeah,
It was like,
you just killed that
okay.
person and took it over.
so applying that logic, there's another chainsaw wielding maniac family out there with the same belief system as these yahoos, and Tex stole the saw from them. They somehow got chrome plated and emblazoned with the same. Whatever, man. We're asking too many questions. I know we're asking too many questions, so we'll just continue with the story. Anyway, needless to say, Leatherface gets the better of Benny and kind of drowns him, and that sucks. Michelle goes hauling ass. Alfredo's chasing her all through the night. Wakes up in the morning. Somehow she got out of or doesn't wake up. We just cut to sunrise. She has apparently evaded Alfredo and made it out of the woods, or whatever you want to call this particular stretch of Texas, into a desert landscape where she goes walking into the sunset and she's like, oh, fucking fuck, we made it. I made it. Whoa, I lost him. Woo! And then up pulls Alfredo's truck and he's like, I got you now, you motherfucker. But then the door opens and we realize that it's Benny. And Benny is actually driving Alfredo's truck. And he's like, hey, come on, girl, get in. We made it. So she's like, Benny, yay. And then she goes to get in the truck. And then Alfredo pops out with a sledgehammer and hits Benny in the head and knocks him out. A little bit of a struggle between Alfredo and Michelle. There's a shotgun in the cab of the truck. So Michelle was already in the truck when Benny got hit in the head. So she grabs a shotgun, shoots Alfredo right in the chest, blows him out, and then helps Benny into the truck. And they drive off into the sunset together. And that is the end of Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre
I
3.
didn't realize that shotguns were so fragile that if they got knocked down, they broke.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, and it wasn't even a bit. He like swatted out of her hand. What Monica is referring to is shotgun. If you're paying attention, like we were clearly, or actually it was pretty obvious. You don't have to like watch it with a microscope or anything. You'll see that as soon as the shotgun hits the floor of the truck, like the stock like shatters a little bit. So she's like wielding it around, and you can see a giant fucking crack down the shaft of the shotgun. That's a pretty cheap ass shotgun, man. Or I mean, more to the point, it's a cheap ass stage prop, which is,
Did they just leave that in there? Is that what happened?
well, okay, let me lay out a little disclaimer here, okay? Now, I spotted that, but before that, I spotted something in the credits, and this may attest to something. In the opening, we watched the opening of this show. In the opening credits, production designer Mick Strawn. Mick's an old friend of the podcast here. He was a production designer on many horror films, to include Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4, Cats, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, did a whole crap ton of Roger Corman movies. Great guy. He's been on the show with us here before. I mean, Mick is known for making things happen on a very low budget. So it would not surprise me for 1 second if Mick built this shotgun for this scene out of some scrap wood and a couple of toilet paper rolls or paper towel rolls or something like that.
Okay.
And the actors just got a little overzealous in that scene and broke Mick's prop, is what I think probably happened. I might shoot him a text later, just see if he remembers this thing and how this actually happened. But Mick, we love you. Well done with the production design. Sorry about your prop shotgun. I hope
Bodies in the swamp too?
probably.
Okay, because that looked good.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do the special effects. He was production design, which is basically overseeing the entire aesthetic of the movie.
Okay.
So that would be part of it. And if a particular special effect fell through at the last minute, it would be on him to fix it. So sorry, Mick. Hope we didn't just shit all over your movie. But to be fair, Mick is known for shitting all over his own movies, and he knows more. He'll tell you straight up, I worked on this movie, it's garbage. And it looks like shit, and I don't know why I was hired. We love you, Mick. Mick's a great guy. That's it. What did you think, Monica, of Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3?
I just couldn't stand this.
You don't like it?
No.
What didn't you like about it?
The whole storyline, like it didn't play into anything.
That's what I'm thinking too.
The characters,
Well,
if you're gonna continue, I at least want try to make the people look the same.
yeah, I get that. The thing is, this movie was made in 1990, and this was a very popular time in horror movie history for weird franchise flip-flopping and being shuffled around. This is about the time we got Halloween 4, 5, and 6, which technically are not considered part of the Halloween franchise in a weird way. I know they have Michael Myers in them, and they sort of continue on a Strode-esque storyline, but as far as the main crux of the timeline, they're not technically part of it. It makes sense if you dig into the backstory, but same thing happened here. This to me does not feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It's way too clean. It doesn't even feel like Texas to me. It feels like Southern California.
Yeah, the setting was off too.
Yeah.
Because compared to the first one where they had the tall grass, whatever you call that, totally different.
No, this one you have like pine trees and like palm trees and stuff like that. Is there a swamp in Texas? I'm sure there is, but there can't be that many of them, right? It felt very out of place to have a swamp in the middle of the Texas desert.
I agree.
That was very off-putting. These people didn't feel like Sawyers, or really they're too good looking is the problem, you know? Show me some jacked up teeth. Show me some weird facial hair. Show me some guys that look like they stink. Yeah, what are they fucking reproducing all of a sudden?
They never
Oh, we never got a backstory on her.
Was as her dad or?
They all called the lady in the wheelchair Mama. But that girl couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old.
Oh my God.
Who the hell is having sex with Mama 8 or 9 years ago?
They kidnapped the girl, got her pregnant, and
God.
then ate her after she gave birth.
Ah. Oh. You could be right there, parole officer. It just didn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This version of Leatherface didn't feel like our Leatherface. It felt like it felt to me like a killer with a chainsaw and a mask. You know, it didn't feel like our guy, and this didn't feel like our family. This felt like a very sanitized, good-looking, cleaned-up version of the Sawyers. I'm not into it.
With the first Leatherface, the remake, the new
Yeah.
one where we met the family.
Yeah.
I could roll with that one, but not this one.
No, I agree. This one just didn't feel. And again, it's not to say that these are the Sawyers, because they might not be. They might be some bizarro offshoot. But if that's the case, why would we bring up this mysterious W.E. Sawyer at the beginning of the movie? Why not just get rid of that whole disclaimer or do a new one? Make this like a copycat family, or it could be like a rival family or something like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it would be almost like taking a new family, throwing them in Wrong Turn and saying, this is Wrong Turn.
Yeah, Wrong Turn.
No.
Like the second one where all of a sudden there was an inbred chick running around.
Yeah, no.
She was
Not a girl.
She was kind of hot too, in a weird way. I know. All right, whatever. All right, she had a nice body. Well, if you can put the tumors aside. All right, guys, that was Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 here in the season of the Saw. We're doing all Texas Chainsaw Massacre or chainsaw-related movies this month in the entire Padded Room Network, or most of them anyway. We got the Horror for Dummies crew covering the remakes. We got the Sawyers. They got the Hewitts. I got the Shock Treatment crew coming in later this week for, what is the parole officer piping off about? I am watching the original from 1974. Monica, that's Big Robert in a wheelchair. Oh, no. Do you know a Franklin?
My best friend in Wisconsin is Franklin.
Oh, no.
Totally.
Oh, no. He's not in a wheelchair, is he?
Well, now he is.
Oh, no.
He's in a walker.
A walker.
Yeah, his spinal cord.
Yeah.
Disintegrated.
Yuck.
Yeah,
Was it an accident or something?
No, he used to be like 1,000-pound weightlifting guy, and all the years
That'll
of
do
lifting
it. That'll kill you, man.
killed him.
It'll kill you. Anyway, I think that's about going to do it for us. Why don't we take us a little break and we'll come back with some other stuff. We'll hang out for another minute or two here on the live feeds if you guys have any.
Yeah, what are we doing next week?
Next week we are going to do Texas Chainsaw 3D from 2015, I believe, the one with Alexandra Daddario and was it T-Pain or T.I. or something like that. That is more true to the Sawyers than this one. So there's that. As I like to call that movie, the nipple slip that never was. She has got a opened button-down shirt, nothing on underneath, while running away from the cops in chainsaw-wielding maniac. At one point, she actually gets strung up like this, and the shirt still covers the boobies.
Oh, come on.
Piss me right off.
And her shirt is unbuttoned.
There's nothing underneath. You can see,
Okay, that should have come undone.
Come on.
Like this.
Come on. You want to see me fired up? Tune into next week's show. Talk about some boobies I don't get to see. Don't tease me like that, you motherfuckers. All right.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
I've only watched it once.
Should we watch it in 3D or just 2D?
No, I can't watch it.
You don't have a 3D TV?
No.
I don't either.
I'm sorry, I'm not a millionaire.
Me neither. I used to have a 3D TV. Fucking dogs ate my 3D glasses. Yep, sounds about right. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us as usual. Let's just hope you guys are ready for Saturday night. Get your livers ready. Hey-o, says the guy that leaves at 7:45 every year. We gotta go. Oh, we got a long ride ahead of us, man. I'm sorry, brother. Come on, let's go. Get out of here, parole officer. I know what you're doing. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll see you next week with Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Bye.
Bye.